Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful New Year's wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP, but in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Great Reset. I'm going to show you how everything is still pushing forward as we move into 2023. So let's take a look. As we go into 2023 and you're getting a head start on your taxes, whatever you do, don't forget to claim the World Economic Forum. You're directly funding them. New Ukraine Zelensky says his government is preparing to participate in Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum in Davos next month. And we see here, he's pushing right in with the passports and everything. So Ukraine just silently announced it's the first country to implement the World Economic Forum's Great Reset by setting up a social credit application, combining universal basic income, a digital identity, and a vaccine passport, all within their DIA app. So let me get this straight. We pay our taxes here in the U.S. We send money over to Zelensky, and this is what he uses the money for. After some of the money gets laundered back to both the Democratic and Republican Party. That's the world we're living in today. It's disgusting. Let's not forget, California has been designated the model state for the Great Reset. Newsom is just another New World Order eunuch. Now, Cali has another anti-U.S. law going into effect. Peace officers don't have to be legal citizens or a permanent resident, and a GED is just fine. So we see here, public employment, peace officer, citizenship, Senate Bill 960. The law maintains that peace officers, including peace officer trainees, be legally authorized to work in the United States consistent with federal law and regulations. However, removes the requirement that they be citizens or permanent residents of the U.S. Now, I always felt that there's a lot of people pouring over that southern border. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people coming in looking for sanctuary, running from something bad, maybe. But I still believe there's other people coming in, bad actors, and they're getting put in power little by little here and there. Maybe it starts as a police officer. Who knows? Things are getting a little too hot for the World Economic Forum on Twitter. So the World Economic Forum cancels Twitter, directs followers to Chinese social media apps. The World Economic Forum and the CCP are close allies. And I will continue talking about this because I want to continue waking people up to this because people need to be awake. What's coming in the future, if Klaus Schwab gets his way, we will all be slaves to the system. World Economic Forum video. The IMF and World Economic Forum are no different than mobsters. They give money to desperate countries, then enslave them in the Great Reset. The CCP is doing something similar with the Belt and Road Initiative. The end game is poor countries in chains. And I've always said it, and I can't stress this enough. Everything inside of that agenda is directed towards the poor, people that rely on the government for money, rely on the government for other things. Maybe if you don't rely on the government, you could stay off the system for a much longer period of time. World Economic Forum and UN equals Great Reset. Every politician with ties to the World Economic Forum should be arrested on suspicion of high treason. And again, I can't stress that enough. These people are not even elected people. And the people in power all throughout the world weren't elected to those positions, but yet they're there, calling the shots in country after country, pushing each country little by little into Klaus's agenda. CBDCs. I'm concerned about the lack of understanding that people have about the implementation of CBDC digital currency. That is controlled by the government. Joe Rogan. Now, I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. I love UFC, and I love the things he talks about. He doesn't really hold anything back. And him talking about CBDCs, and I've seen him talk about the Great Reset in the past. It's great to see because a lot of people listen to Joe Rogan. Maybe he wakes up a few more people. You know, that's what this is all about. That's what my channel's about. You know, I don't leave anything off the table because we're living in a time that things could take a horrible turn at any moment. So former World Economic Forum young global leader
Tulsi Gabbard condemns Klaus Schwab's Great Reset. And we see here, while we struggle to afford food and fuel, the elite gather at Davos World Economic Forum to discuss how we should be allowed to live our lives. Their totalitarian dream of a so-called Great Reset where people own nothing and are tracked, monitored with every step must be condemned by us all. It seems Tulsi is waking up. In 2015, she was named as one of the World Economic Forum's young global leaders, joining the ranks of young liberals, including Emmanuel Macron, Jacinda Ardern, and Justin Trudeau, all of whom graduated from Klaus Schwab's class to become modern-day left-wing authoritarians. But she's choosing a different path, and it's nice to see people in power turning on the World Economic Forum, turning against Klaus Schwab, because that's what we need today. Senator Malcolm Roberts, I call on Australia to abandon the Great Reset of the World Economic Forum and instead launch a great resistance. And as we see that happening throughout the world, it gives me a sense of hope that maybe if more and more people continue to wake up, maybe life is going to be much different in the future. Seen this stuff about 15-minute cities. It means genocide for the countryside. They want everyone living in a sustainable cities. The Netherlands is the most agri-productive place on the planet. The government is closing farms. Your children will exist on starvation rations. And we see here features of a 20-minute neighborhood. So you have local employment opportunities, local shopping centers, local health and facilities and services, local schools, lifelong learning opportunities, local playgrounds, green streets and spaces, community gardens, sports and recreation, safe streets and spaces, affordable housing options, ability to age in place, housing diversity, walkability, safe cycling networks, local public transport, well connected to public transport jobs, services within the region. And what they're pushing here is this. It's a climate lockdown. That's what it comes down to. Because once you leave the city, they shut off your money. They can easily do that. And the way they sell this is that you don't drive a car anymore. Maybe you ride a bicycle or get on public transportation. This isn't about going green. This is about locking us down. 15-minute city. It's called a smart city because if they called it a centralized concentration camp, you might not want to live there. And that's what it becomes. And again, if you get out of line, they'll just kick you out of the city as well. Then you get what? Pushed out and you don't have no money because your money's tied to your digital wallet and your digital ID. So even if you make it to the next city, your money still isn't going to work. The 15-minute cities, Paris and Oxford, will be the first cities to regulate the movement of citizens from 2024. You are only allowed to move where you can walk within 15 minutes. For anything else, we need permission from the city administration. Imagine that. Okay, your family doesn't live inside the city and you want to go visit them. Maybe it's an emergency situation. So what? You have to fill out an application, give it to the city administration, and hope they approve it as fast as possible so you could leave the city? That's what I'm saying. It's a concentration camp. Also, they will support the 15-minute city, the CBDC, digital ID, and future mandatory vaccine for every living soul. That is why we are screwed. The majority will sell us out. Now, with this, right, these people are fighting over a drink that they've seen on TV. They fought over toilet rolls. They wore masks, social distance, snitched on each other, got jabbed, and now they're fighting over a drink, all because the TV said so. Now, remember when toilet paper was the biggest thing? You had to have it. Why? Because they told you there was a shortage on it. The same people that fall for this will fall right in to the Agenda 2030. But the problem is that they'll drag us down with them because the majority will already move over to that system. So Ripple sees promise in carbon credit and gaming NFTs despite market downturn. While Ripple CTO David Schwartz, Joe Katz, says he still gets most excited about payments, he also got his eye on carbon credits and gaming NFTs. And I stressed this before. I said carbon credits are going to become one of the biggest things in the future. If you could afford carbon credits, your life will be much different. I said it many times. But why gaming? Well, then I seen this, and it made me think. They accelerate, then you will have nothing and you will be happy from the 2030 agenda. These people go with shift and without breaks. World Economic Forum to accelerate push for Metaverse surveillance network at Davos 2023. So the World Economic Forum is going to start really pushing towards the metaverse. They're probably going to be able to tie their agenda hidden in there, maybe subliminal messages. World Economic Forum investigating methods to integrate digital ID into the metaverse. It's all part of the evil plan. Like I said before, these people, I believe, sold their soul a long time ago, and they're very unhappy rich people. So when the rich people aren't happy, they don't want the rest of the world to be happy either. That's why they want to enslave us. They want to control us. They want to have power over us. And the disgusting part is they also want to depopulate us. You know, I seen Bill Gates, the things I read about him, I I am disgusted by a lot of it. I mean, he's pushing for this to happen as soon as like tomorrow. He wants to put chips in you, and if you get out of line, he just wants to eliminate you. And these people have to be getting this from some sort of satanic entity somewhere. They had to sell their soul. That's the only way I could see any person ever thinking this is a good idea. And the sad part is they get a following because they talk about climate change and saving the planet, and people fall for that nonsense. The same people are jet setting and doing all the things they don't want you to do. But with that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos, and I hope you all have a wonderful New Year's. And I just wanted to do a video on this since we're going into 2023. I wanted to show you the way they're starting to push forward with this agenda. Those 15-minute cities, at some point, they're going to be talked about here in the U.S. as well, and in almost every other country throughout the world. It's just a matter of time. But we'll see you in the next video. Have a great night.